Hello everybody, thanks a lot for joining. As you know, this is the fifth session of a series of workshops about the unconscious mind. In my last video, we saw it was the final video about the interpretation of dreams. In these coming sessions, we are going to see why do we get sick. We will see how the different mental health disorders, believe it or not, are solutions to conflicts that at that time we could not solve because we didn't have the tools. And in order to do that, let's start by having a look to how we become human beings. Let's go back to the Oedipus complex. Remember we said it is the process through which we become human beings. How does that happen? When we are born, we are very close to our mother. The father comes, and thanks to him, we are separated from our mother and access the world. He comes and says, "You cannot sleep with your mother. It is me who sleeps with her." At the beginning, if the father is not at home, the child will go to sleep with the mother. But at some point, even when the father is not there, he will stop going to sleep with the mother. At that moment, we say he has internalized the law. He has learned to symbolize. Even when the father is not present, he has law. This is why we say that the father brings the law. This is also why we say the Oedipus complex is the access of the human being to the language. Everything happens through words. Accepting the law allows to live in the world with other human beings and be healthy. For example, what happens with psychotic people is that they haven't accepted this internal law. And as you know, they go crazy. It's not good not to have limits and do not respect the law. Once we have internalized the law, we no longer need our parents, teacher, or boss to be present in order to do what we have to do. Boom! The superego is built. How? Our first love object is the mother, and once we realize we need to renounce to it, we identify with her in order not to lose her. It becomes part of ourselves, unconscious. Same happens with the father. That is the superego. This same process will happen with all the figures of authority. Teachers, managers. The superego is our moral conscience. Later we will see that the exact same mechanism that gives play to the superego, and that is a normal mechanism of the psychic apparatus, is the mechanism that gives place to depression. Yes, to depression. Let's continue. Both the boy and the girl will choose as loved objects their mother and their father, and both of them will identify with them. These choices of love object and identifications will give place to four sexes: mother, father, female, and male. These four sexes are just positions in the language. We are a bit of everything. Female position means passive. Masculine positions means active. For example, in order to have a manager, we need to be able to undertake the passive position. Otherwise, I don't respect authority and they can fire me. This happens, unfortunately, a lot. Freud mentioned that depending which tendencies we repress, we appear as homosexual or heterosexual. Everything in the human being is a construction. Freud had been constantly accused of pansexualism. However, the term sexuality or sexual, used by Freud, is way wider than genitality. Sexual, according to Freud, refers to everything touched by the word. All the possible human relationships with our boss, with our mother, with a husband, with someone younger, older, work relationships, personal relationships. The way we interact with other human beings, the way we love or hate, the way we choose our loved ones, all in all, the way we live is determined by the position we hold once we have gone through the Oedipus complex. The ego, for example, is built thanks to the image of other human beings, is built by ongoing identifications. The image of other human beings is super important. Remember how when we are helpless babies or children, we feel our body is fragmented versus the complete body of our totipotent parents. We then think, I want to be that complete child. This is how we build our personality. Every time we learn something new, this process will be open. Again, all the Oedipus complex. Remember that in the previous session, we said it's a process that never ends, especially if we are growing. Hopefully, we won't stop growing at any point. Please note that everything is in the language, in what we say, in our attitude. When we face a new challenge, when we need to learn something, we could think, I will never be able to do that. It is impossible. But I could also say, if other people have been able to do it, I will be able to. We will see how in hysteria, for example, this mechanism of identification plays a key role in the development of the symptoms and the disease. The ego has to please reality. We can't do things when we want. If we have to wake up to go to work and we don't like it, we still have to go. The superego is our moral conscience, as we had seen before. It has all the identifications of the figures of authoritas. And finally, the id, which is all unconscious, is the cauldron of drives. We will see how in obsessive neurosis, the main affect is guilt. This is because the superego can be sometimes very strong, very cruel. Every time we surrender to the command of the superego, the unconscious guilt becomes stronger and stronger. I bet some of you suffer from this, and if you are in therapy, I hope this is getting better, but this is very common. We are capable to do less and less things the more we surrender to the superego. This is why we need to treat the unconscious guilt. The more we obey its demands, the stronger it becomes. So I don't recommend it. As you can see, the process of becoming a human being, it is very complex. Everything in the human being is a construction. At any step of our psychic constitution, we can experiment conflicts and get sick if we don't have the tools to overcome them. And we are in constant transformation. Our constitution never really finishes. Psychoanalysis gives you the tools so you can be successful, happy, and healthy. In order to understand all these things a bit better, I would like to tell you very quickly the Oedipus legend. Everybody speaks about the Oedipus complex, but I doubt they know why this name. Let's have a look. Oedipo was the son of Laio, king of Thebes. An oracle has told the king that he would be killed by his son. The king, trying to escape his destiny, abandoned the baby in the mountain, hoping he would die. However, the baby was found by a shepherd and handed to the king of Corinthia. He named him Oedipo, and he treated as his own son. Oedipo didn't know he was an adopted child, and when an oracle heralded he would kill his dad, to avoid doing so, he left Corinthia. However, in his route, he bumped into Laio, his biological father. He thought he and his companions were some robbers and killed him. Unexpectedly, the prophecy was fulfilled. Oedipus has killed his own father. His father couldn't escape the destiny of being killed by his own son. Homeless and alone, Oedipus was harassed by a terrible monster, the Sphinx, who was killing all the travelers who could not solve his enigma. Oedipus managed to solve it, and the Sphinx killed himself. When Oedipus arrived to Thebes, where he was born, the people from Thebes thought the king had been killed by bunglers on his route, and as a reward for having relieved them from the phoenix, they made Oedipus king and gave him the queen as a spouse. Do you realize what just happened? For many years, the couple lived happy and aware that they were mother and son. At some point, Oedipus discovered he has killed his father, and Jocasta, his mother, killed herself, horrified of being married to her son. When Oedipus found out she has killed herself, he removed his eyes. We will see that in psychoanalysis, removing the eyes is a synonym of castration, and left the throne. Oedipus lived in Thebes many years, but exiled. All in all, Oedipus has killed his father and married her mother. Quite interestingly, this happens in many other myths of the Greek mythology. Many heroes kill his father and wed his mother. Oedipus is like a hero because he has fulfilled the unconscious wishes of any man. Kill the father and sleep with the mother. And it all happens in an undercover way. He does not know about it. This is exactly how the Oedipus complex happened. We want to sleep with our mother and kill our father. But when we grow up, those wishes become unconscious. We don't want to know about it. We repress them. All the Oedipus complex is unconscious. Freud said that gladly kids are not strong. Otherwise, they could kill, and a lot of people would be dead. Please bear in mind that this is a myth. It happens in our psychic reality. Remember when we saw the difference between objective and psychic reality? In the material reality, killing the father and sleeping with the mother is a crime. So please don't go and make your wishes come true. The Oedipus complex, in fact, shows not what we do, but what we are not allowed to do. Once our father says, you can't sleep with your mother, you need to look for other women, once we repress that incestuous wish, the wish is free to choose other objects. That unconscious wish will be the engine not only of dreams, but of all our lives. Does this ring a bell? I'm going to connect with our first session. That unconscious wish is repressed, and we don't know about it, but it's always trying to show up. That is how the unconscious works. It can show up as a dream, as a piece of art, or as a symptom. We all wish in the same way. What makes the difference between mentally sick and healthy individuals is the way in which we renounce to the unconscious wish. Mental illnesses like neurosis, psychosis, hysteria, phobia, depression, psychosomatic illnesses, obsessions, they are all different psychic positions, structures the individual undertakes against a human and variable truth. When the individual faces a reality he cannot tolerate, the individual gets sick and builds a neurosis or a psychosis or obsessions in order to escape from reality and avoid facing it. In our next sessions, I will explain each of the mental health disorders, how and why they happen, and of course, how to solve them. We definitely don't need to be sick or fail in our projects. How they happen and how we can solve them will be the object of the next session. Thank you very much.